I welcome you all in the session. Topic of this session is concept of policy formulation and basic ingredients of policy formulation. You all were aware that policy is a action or plan of action to achieve a predetermined goal. In case of agriculture, we may have the goal to increase the agriculture productivity, and to achieve this goal of increasing the agriculture productivity, we may have different action or plan of actions like we may have that we may increase the high yielding variety area, we may increase the supply of the inputs like fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, we may have some pest management strategy. So there may be different strategy, different plan of action to achieve a policy goal of increasing agriculture productivity or many others. Sometimes we may have a goal to enhance the employment in agriculture sector. So there may be different goals are there. So for achieving this different goal, the government prepare different policy action, and preparing a policy action or preparing a policy is a very significant activity from the government side, and it is a very complex task because the decision on the government about the policy action and strategy of the policy action affects the many peoples, because large section of the peoples who depend for their livelihood, for their income on the agriculture sectors, and there are different stakeholders. Suppose in case of agriculture, if we want to enhance the income of the farmers, the government have a strategy or policy to provide the price supports. So sometimes this providing price support also adversely affect the other peoples like consumers. If government is increasing the minimum support prices, it will adversely affect the consumers because they will get the food grain at higher cost, higher prices. So there are different stakeholders are there are different interest groups are there. Sometimes private companies are there, sometimes the private organization, farmers organization are there, cooperative organizations are there, sometimes environmentalists are also there, and then natural resource economists also there. So there are different peoples are there, agribusiness organizations are there. So many peoples are there who are affected from the policy action. So it is a very difficult task or complex task to prepare a good agriculture policy. So in today's section, basically we are going to learn about the concept of policy formulation, meaning of the policy formulation process, and what are the different ingredients required to form a policy, agriculture policy particularly. What are the different things we required, different types of data, information. Then we have to identify different types of peoples, stakeholders, actors to frame a policy. Then there are certain procedure, fixed procedure is there, so through which we have to prepare the policy formulation. So in the today session, basically we are going to discuss about the meaning of the policy formulation process and also the different ingredient required to form a policy in agriculture sector. Let us start with the concept of policy formulation. Basically it is a political and economic process. Political and economic process means the major actors we can say are the political institution, our political parties or leaders who are elected by the people, because we are a democratic society. So every decision is taken by the elected people. So these political parties or elected peoples, they have their own vision, they have their own agenda, they have missed to the common people that after winning the election they will do this much activities for the welfare of the common people. So they have their political interest. So and this is also an economic process because it involves the the resources, the human resources, the physical resources, we need to have some investment, capital resources. So the government or bureaucrats or administration, they want to achieve some efficiency, but political peoples or the political party who have some promise to serve the people, they have their own agenda of serving the people, provide equity to the people. So this is a basically political and economic process. And the major decisions or the important role is played by the people's representative, because we are the democratic system. So here elected peoples, they take the major part in framing the policy action. And there are two ways to develop a proposal to initiate the policy action for implementation in the fields. One is the through executive order, another is through complete debate, full debate in the parliament, or if it is a central policy, or in the legislative assembly if it is a state policy. Executive order means if some government finds there is some urgency is there, some corrective action need to be taken on urgent basis, they simply bring some the executive order and they implement after simply approval in the cabinet meeting, and they simply implement. And then if there is a policy action is required for the long term goal, and it will require thorough discussion, then the route is through the parliament or legislative assembly. And after the approval of the policy, the government or departments, they prepare the time bound plan, programs, and they implement the policy in the field to achieve the policy objective. Here we can understand or we can define the policy making process. So policy making process basically involves series of stages through which the formulation of a policy goes from its conception to the point at which its impact can be evaluated. So identification of the policy agenda or policy issue, and then framing a draft policy, and then approval in the parliament or legislative assembly, then implementation in the field level, then after implementation some kind of evaluation of impact assessment is also be done. So all these activities are part of the policy making process. So policy making basically it comprises a set of processes, activities and actions to collectively arrive at some consensus decisions to achieve the predetermined goal. So basically there are different stakeholders are there. So there should be some consensus among the different stakeholders to have some common objectives, common goal among the different the stakeholders, and they draft some policy action. So that is involved in the policy making process. So here again, who initiate the policy making? So there are politicians are there, political parties are there, they have to accomplish their election promises. So they have made some election promises during the elections, and they want to fulfill that agenda, their objectives, their promise. And here sometimes both the party who is governing the government or even the opposition party, they also initiate the policy action, or they also suggest some policy. And then another source of initiating the policy is the bureaucrats. Basically they understand what are the redundancies there in the present policies, or what are the new economic situation is emerging. So they want to make some amendment in the existing policy. So or sometimes they also suggest new policy. So bureaucrats are the another source who initiates the policy action. Then the civil society or any other actors or stakeholders, because civil society, they are in contact with the common peoples, they understand the problem at the ground level, and they also know what are the things going on around, and what are the problems and what are the solutions. So they also suggest the civil society organizations or the people who are actively participating in the welfare activity of the people, they also suggest the policy action. So these are the people who initiate the policy action. And the most important thing while making the policy is the involvement of all the stakeholders. Their participation is very much required for designing a effective agriculture policy. Then in the policy formulation, there are different processes are there. So all these processes have to follow while formulating the agriculture policy. And basically policy formulation start from the identifying the policy issues, what is the problem in actual at the ground level. So they identify some issues like we can say there is unemployment in a particular region, the farmers' income is not good in a certain specific area, we can say in the dry land areas or arid zone, the income of the people is not there, the productivity is very less compared to compared to the potential yield. So we can say the first stage start in the policy formulation is from the identification of the policy issues. Then based on the policy issues, the policy maker, they specify the policy objectives, then they design and select the policy options. There may be different options to achieve the policy goal. So they design or select the appropriate policy action, then it goes for implementation, and then monitoring and evaluation of the policy outcome. This is done in the last. And here we need to also understand that there is a difference between policy formulation and policy making. Policy making basically comprises of all the stages, starting from the identification of policy issues to framing a policy action, then implementation at the field levels, and even the monitoring and evaluation of the policy outcome. But in case of policy formulation, the initial part of policy making, excluding the implementation, monitoring and evaluation part. So in case of policy formulation, these three stages, implementation, monitoring, evaluations, are not included. The initial part up to policy making, initial part up to policy drafting, that is a part of policy formulation. Now we will move to what are the different ingredients of policy formulation. So there are some essential ingredients which are required to frame the good agriculture policy. The important ingredients are information and database, in-depth analysis of data and information, actors and stakeholders, capacity building, creation of policy network, resource competitiveness, risk and trade-off, interface with department, state institution, other stakeholders. These are the different ingredients. Now we will understand about each of these ingredients in detail. The first ingredient is the information and database. Actually, this information and database are required at every stage of policy formulation, and we need different types of data and data of different natures we required while formulating a policy. And actually we need to have a data on the existing policy also, and what are the feedback on existing policy. These two things are very important, and if the present policy is not capable in dealing with the emerging problem of farming, then a new policy is required to be formulated. So information is also required on the actual or on the existing policies, and then also we need to have the information about the performance of that policy which are being implemented currently. So and data of different types, we need to have primary data, we need to have the secondary data, we need to have socioeconomic data, we need to have production data. So different types of data are required for formulation of agriculture policy. And these actors and stakeholders, actually they rely on the policies, on the various source of the information for influencing the policy formulation process. Based on the data available with them, they influence the policy formulation, they influence the identification of objectives, they influence the strategy to bring the to implement the or to initiate the action to achieve the goals. So based on the information, actually the actors and stakeholders, they suggest the objective identification and as well as the identification of strategies to implement or to achieve the policy goal. And after the collecting the data, we need to analyze and interpret the data. That is also very much, because based on the data we have to interpret the results. We need to draw some conclusions. For that, analysis and interpretation is very much important. There are different sources of data. Secondary data are those data which have been already collected by some organization or some persons, like we have data from the Central Statistical Organization, then we have the data from the National Sample Survey Organizations, and then Ministry of Agriculture, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, CMIE, then Reserve Bank of India, Food and Agriculture Organization. These are the different organizations who provide the secondary data, and sometimes we have to also collect the primary data, like in suppose we want to form a policy about the farmer suicides, primary data related to the nature, cause and magnitude of the problem we have to collect from the farmers themselves. So we have to collect the primary data sometimes. Then the second ingredient which are required in the policy formulation process is the in-depth analysis of data and information. Actually, we need to conduct the studies of different areas, sectors and branches. That is very much required, and we can conduct different types of studies like farmers' income situation and the impact of market condition or policy changes on the farmers' income, then changes in the land tenures and land use patterns, labor market conditions, rural farm and non-farm employment and income patterns, technological changes which are taking place in the society, then farm size and productivity relations, then institutional changes, what are the different institutions are coming up in the society, then land lease market system, supply chain system, the international trade agreements, processing activities and marketing channels, food consumption trends. Actually, now our society is moving towards the horticultural products, fruits and vegetables or meat, so more of vitamin or the protein diets we are moving. So we need to study the consumption trend, and then impact of the corporate the contract farming on farmers' income and employment. So there are different studies we may conduct before going for the policy action or drafting a policy action. And these studies are very much important. Actually, this is vital for the identification of issues and policy designs, because based on the studies we can identify what is the actual problem, and we need to frame the new policies or we need to amend the policies. So based on the different studies only, or based on the data and the information we can identify the goal of the policy or strategy. So the important data actually for formulating agriculture policies may be on the agricultural product prices, the production data we need to have information on agronomic and socio-cultural information, we need to have data on the production technology, then also we need to have information on the farming system and practices, whether they are following the monoculture, whether they are following the different crops or cropping patterns, or whether the farmers are following the rice, wheat cropping pattern, whether they are also growing the pulses or oil seeds, whether they are also growing the horticulture commodity or not. So we need to have complete information on the farming system and practices. And this information or data actually they help in generating and analysis the new policy options. So based on the information or data we can generate the new policy options, and also we can review the existing policy. For that we need to have some data and information. Then the next ingredient in the policy formulation is the actors and stakeholders. For inclusive or participatory policy, involvement of different actors and stakeholders is very much required. And actually there are two types of person or organization which are involved in the policy formulation. One is the actors. Actors are basically they directly participate and they directly affect the decision making process. So politicians, civil servant, experts and the academicians, non-government organization, the financial institution, NABARD, corporate and farmers organization, the media person, sometimes Panchayat Raj institutions, because they are also involved in the policy implementation. So these are the persons who directly participate in the policy making process. They also participate in the implementation aspect of the policies. So their decisions actually their influence affect the policy decisions. So we need to identify all the stakeholders, all the actors who are directly or who are going to directly participate in the policy making process. Then we need to also identify the stakeholders. Actually they directly or indirectly affected the affected by the policy outcomes. So these are the peoples who are basically, we can say, the beneficiaries who are going to be affected from the policy actions, like agriculture ministry and department related to water, forestry, energy, finance, trade. These are affected from the policy decisions, and then farmers and landless workers, they are also affected from the policy decisions in case of agriculture. Input suppliers, the agro processors, the cooperative organization, traders, all these are peoples who are affected from the policy decisions. So we need to have their view, their consensus about the new policy actions. So we need to identify them who are going to be affected from the policy actions, and the participation of stakeholder and end user make the policy more demand driven, because we are getting their input, because we are knowing what actually they want. So if we involve the participants, if we involve the stakeholder, the policy become a demand driven policy, and actually they provide their response in meeting out the intended policy goals. So if our policy goal is to increase the farmers' income, and if we are taking the input from the stakeholders, it will help us in framing the good policy actually which are desired by the participants, the stakeholders, so that there is a chance of getting more good results if we take the data or information, or we participate, we take the involvement of these stakeholders. Then in case of stakeholders, we need to develop their capacity also, because capacity building of the actors and stakeholders have significant impact on the process and outcome. So that we need to actually enhance and strengthen the capability of the participant so that they contribute productively. And sometimes we find that there are many reasons for policy failures. Sometimes policy failure due to the formulation of the wrong policy, because we don't have a correct information, the actual positions, or sometimes we have not taken the view of the participants, the beneficiary participants, and sometimes policy failure is also due to the poor implementation. Even if the right policy is there, policy implementation is not good, so policy will be failure. So actually for avoiding such problem, actually we need to have the capacity building of all the actors and stakeholders, and for that purpose we need to conduct the training programs, we need to create the awareness program, and we need to equip the participants and the actors, stakeholder with all the necessary information. We need to provide them all the data and information, so they can suggest the real or actual position of policy formulation or actual requirement of the policy formulation, and they can suggest the action, the strategy which can be implementable at the field level. Then creation of policy network is another ingredient, and actually we need to identify the group of people who can share the ideas, and who can influence on the setting policy agendas. And this policy network also help in building consensus in identification of policy issues, and they disseminate this policy network also help in disseminating the reports and findings, and help in quick feedback, because it is if policy network is there, if and there is some connection is there, so we can easily send the information or policy draft, and we can invite their feedback. So it help in the building the consensus, and then through the policy network we initiate dialogue among the actors and stakeholders. Then we can invite the comments and suggestions on the policy draft. And when we have nowadays it is easy to form to create the policy network, because different electronic platforms, they facilitate, like we can create a group mail of all the stakeholders or actors, so we can easily communicate with all the participants. So creation of policy network is very much required in formulation of agriculture policy. Then Research competitiveness is another important aspect because we have limited resources, and the non-agriculture sector is growing faster than the agriculture sectors, and this adversely affecting the agriculture resources. We are diverting the human resources, the financial resources, and physical resources like land to the non-agriculture sector. Our arable land is diverted to the non-agriculture purpose, and more remunerative wages are there in the non-farm sectors and labor. That's why there is a labor migration from agriculture sector to the non-farm sector. So in this way, the more resources are being allocated to the non-agriculture sector. So there is always a trade-off between the agriculture sectors and non-agriculture sector to whom which should allocate, the government should allocate the resources. Then risk and trade-off is another ingredient here. Very intelligently the government or policy maker, they should take the decision, because agriculture policy making process is very complicated process because of nature of the agriculture sectors, its contribution in the employment, food security and raw material, and in agriculture policy issues are linked with the issues of other ministries and department also. We have different intergroups, intersectors, interministerial conflict in agriculture policy, because all this conflict between the groups and between the sectors, between the ministry need to be resolved through the building consensus and compromises. And different interest group, they are the actor in the policy making that suggest different type of goals, different types of policy actions. So in a case of agriculture, we have the multiple goal, but they are also a conflicting goal. So we need to have decisions about the trade-off between the efficiency or equity, whether we want to increase the productivity, whether we want to have the environmental protection in the society. So sometimes we need to have decision about the food security and fuel security. Recently government allowed the conversion of rice for the use of the rice for the ethanol production. So such type of issues we need to be tackled very clearly, and this trade-off arises due to the limited resources and their competing uses are there in the society. That's why the trade-off is emerges. Then next ingredient is the interface with the department, institution and other stakeholders. Suppose we are developing a national agriculture policy, we have the national agriculture policy. So this policy is for the nation, not a central government policy. So basically agriculture is the state subject, and there are different complementary sectors which are related to the agriculture, like irrigation, the power and transport. All these different sectors are under the state government. So we need to have proper consensus, proper interface, proper communication with the state government while formulating the national policy. So there are public sector is also there, the private sector is also there, and we need to have effective coordination and communication among the various ministries, department, institution, and we need to have coordination and communication with the relevant interest groups like consumers, the traders, the farmers. Then we need to have the communication and coordination with the state level institution and their organization. So we need to, while formulating the agriculture policy, we need to incorporate region and state specific issues in the policy design. Now we can sum up this session that policy making is a political and economic process. It involves a number of processes in starting from the identifying the policy issue to impact assessment, and there are different ingredients in the policy formulation process like the information and data phase, in-depth analysis of the data and information we have to do. Then we have to identify the actors and stakeholders. Then we need to build the capacity of these actors and stakeholders. Then we have to create the policy networks so that proper communication is there between all the actors and stakeholders. We can get their feedback, their comments, their suggestion on the drafted policy action. Then we have the resource competitiveness because we have limited budget, we have limited our physical resources, we have the limited capital. So we need to identify how we can best use this competitive resources among the different sectors, and then we have to take the decision about the risk and trade-offs, because policy of agriculture sector is also linked with different sectors, different departments, different ministries, and also we need to develop the interface with the department, state institution and other stakeholders for formulation of a good agriculture policy. Thank you.